Can you feel that familiar ache, that gnawing sense of what if that so often accompanies the journey of a promising young talent in the unforgiving world of professional sports? Are we, the passionate faithful, about to witness another chapter in the bittersweet saga of a player whose undeniable skill has perpetually bumped up against the immovable wall of circumstance and roster depth? For years, the Toronto Maple Leafs have been a crucible for young players, a place where potential is both celebrated and rigorously tested. And right now, the spotlight, or perhaps more accurately the trade speculation, is shining brightly on a player who embodies this struggle, Nick Robertson. Is this the moment a fresh start becomes not just a possibility, but a necessity, allowing a genuinely gifted winger to finally unleash his full, untapped potential elsewhere? Or will the Leafs once again find a way to integrate him into their star-studded lineup? This isn't just another rumor. It's a narrative steeped in the raw emotion of a player yearning for a consistent opportunity, a story that resonates with anyone who has ever felt overlooked despite their best efforts. The whispers are growing louder, the speculation intensifying, and it appears Toronto Maple Leafs winger Nick Robertson may, once again, find himself squarely on the trade block. For a player who has spent the better part of 6 seasons navigating the treacherous waters between the NHL and the AHL, battling injuries and fighting for a permanent spot, this latest development must feel like a cruel twist of fate, or perhaps a long-awaited opportunity for liberation. TSN hockey insider Darren Dreger, a man whose insights often cut to the heart of the league's most pressing issues, recently reported that Maple Leafs general manager Brad Treliving has been actively engaging with potentially interested teams. The message is clear. Robertson's future with the team is once again in question, and the organization is exploring avenues to address it. Dreger articulated the situation with his characteristic candor on insider trading, stating, "The 24-year-old finds himself one more time in a very familiar spot with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he's hoping for a larger role opportunity in the National Hockey League. He's pushing 160 NHL games. I know that Toronto Maple Leafs GM Brad Treliving has recently talked with clubs that may have some interest in Nick Robertson. Given the depth that the Maple Leafs have, it's a tough spot for Robertson. So maybe it's time to give him a fresh start somewhere else. A very familiar spot." Those words hang heavy in the air, painting a vivid picture of Robertson's journey. Drafted 53rd overall in the 2019 draft, the Pasadena, California native arrived with a reputation as a pure goal scorer, a player with an elite shot and an undeniable offensive drive. The expectations were high, the promise immense. Yet his tenure with the Maple Leafs has been a relentless cycle of tantalizing glimpses, frustrating injuries, and the constant battle for ice time on a team perpetually loaded with high-end offensive talent. He's appeared in 160 games across parts of 6 seasons, scoring 32 goals and tallying 57 points. Respectable numbers for the limited opportunities he's often received, but certainly not the breakout production many envisioned for a player of his caliber. Each time he's seemed on the verge of cementing his place, an injury or a roster crunch has pushed him back to the periphery, leaving fans, and more importantly Robertson himself, wondering what could have been. The depth of the Maple Leafs forward group is a double-edged sword. While it provides the team with an enviable array of offensive weapons, it simultaneously creates an incredibly challenging environment for players like Robertson to truly flourish. With established stars occupying the top lines and a host of veteran forwards vying for roles, the pathway to consistent top 9 minutes, let alone power play time, is often obstructed. This season, Robertson has dressed in all 4 games, posting 1 assist, primarily on a line with Max Domi and Bobby McMann. While he's been in the lineup, the impending return of Scott Laughton from a lower body injury is expected to trigger further line shifts, potentially pushing Robertson back out of the rotation or into an even more diminished role. This constant uncertainty, this perpetual feeling of being on the bubble, can be incredibly taxing for any athlete, let alone one with Robertson's competitive fire. It's not a new sentiment for Robertson. He openly requested a trade from the Maple Leafs during the 2024 offseason, a clear indication of his desire for a change of scenery and a more prominent role. Despite that request, he eventually re-signed with the club, a testament to his commitment to the organization. but perhaps also a reflection of the limited options available at the time. Now, with the season underway and the trade market beginning to warm up, Treliving is revisiting those conversations, understanding that sometimes for both the player and the team, a fresh start is the most beneficial path forward. Brad Treliving, in his role as general manager, is tasked with making tough decisions that prioritize the team's overall success. His mandate is clear: build a championship contender. And sometimes that means moving pieces that, while talented, don't quite fit the current puzzle or whose value can be maximized elsewhere. Exploring trade interest in Robertson isn't a slight against the player, it's a strategic maneuver. Robertson is signed at a cap hit of $1.825 million and will be a restricted free agent again next summer. This contract, while not exorbitant, makes him an attractive asset for teams looking for cost-controlled offensive upside. For a team like the Maple Leafs, who are always navigating a tight salary cap and looking to optimize their roster, moving Robertson could free up cap space, a roster spot, or bring in an asset that better addresses a specific need, perhaps on the defensive end or a more defensively responsible forward. So, what kind of return could the Leafs expect for Robertson? And what kind of teams would be interested? Robertson's profile as a skilled, albeit undersized, winger with a proven shot and a history of injury could appeal to several types of clubs. Younger, rebuilding teams with open roster spots and a need for offensive talent might see him as a reclamation project with significant upside. A team struggling to score goals could view him as an immediate injection of offense, willing to give him the top 9 minutes and power play opportunities he craves. The early stages of these talks, as Dreger noted, mean that any potential deal is likely still conceptual, but the interest is undoubtedly there. General managers across the league are always looking for undervalued assets, and a player of Robertson's pedigree who has shown flashes of brilliance could be exactly that in a new environment. From Robertson's perspective, the prospect of a fresh start must be incredibly enticing. Imagine the psychological liberation of stepping onto the ice knowing that you're not constantly battling for your spot, that the coaching staff is committed to giving you a consistent role, and that your development is a priority. In a new city, with a new team, Robertson could finally shed the prospect label and establish himself as a legitimate, everyday NHL player. He could get the consistent ice time needed to build chemistry with line mates to find his rhythm, and to truly showcase the offensive prowess that made him a high draft pick. The mental toll of being perpetually on the fringe, of having your confidence chipped away by inconsistent deployment, is immense. A change of scenery could be the catalyst he needs to unlock the player he's always been capable of becoming. For the Maple Leafs, a trade involving Robertson would signify a clear strategic choice. It would acknowledge that while he possesses talent, the fit within their current structure and long-term plans might not be ideal. It would allow them to reallocate resources, whether that's through acquiring a different type of player, gaining draft capital, or simply creating more flexibility. It's a calculated risk, as any trade is, but one that Treliving seems prepared to take in his ongoing quest to refine and strengthen the roster. The team has a clear vision, and every player must fit into that grand design. If Robertson's path to fulfilling his potential lies outside of Toronto, then facilitating that move becomes a win-win for both parties. As the season progresses, the trade winds will only intensify. The early discussions reported by Dreger are just the opening salvo in what could become a significant move for both Nick Robertson and the Toronto Maple Leafs. This isn't just about a player being traded. It's about the culmination of a journey, the bittersweet reality of unfulfilled potential in one place, and the exciting prospect of a new beginning elsewhere. It's a testament to the relentless nature of professional hockey, where even the most talented individuals must sometimes seek new horizons to truly shine. The question isn't if Nick Robertson has the talent, it's whether he'll finally get the consistent stage to prove it. So, what are your thoughts on this unfolding situation? Do you believe a trade is the best outcome for Nick Robertson, allowing him to finally reach his full potential? And what kind of return do you think the Maple Leafs should be targeting if they do move him? Share your insights, your predictions, and your hopes for Robertson's future in the comments below. Let's dive into this discussion and hear what you, the most passionate fans in hockey, have to say. And if you're as invested in the Leafs' strategic moves and player development as we are, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for all the breaking news and in-depth analysis that keeps you connected to your team.